And on this week of the 365 Message Center show, we have home sites, multiple home sites for Viva Connections. I think that's a big deal. It's been a long time coming. We've got Teams personal tabs for Outlook and iOS. I don't know, but let's figure that out. And lastly, we've got Teams Collaborative Stageview, not Collaborative Stagecoach, but something else that rides the caboose. I don't know. Did you want to ride shotgun, Daniel? No, I've lost you completely. Oh well, let's just roll it. You must still be thinking, what?
It's awesome. Hello, everyone. We're having fun already. This is the 365 Message Center show where we help you do lots of stuff like planning for change and stuff.
Relieve stress.
This is episode 286. Oh, man. See, if you listened or watched the show last week, I talked about how I was waiting for 285 and I wanted the 5 and now we're on the 6. And I'm like,
oh, it's fond farewells to 285.
So what we're going to do is we're just going to make this show upbeat and fun without the 5 because it's 286. Is that okay?
That's okay. That's okay. We've got fond memories of 285.
Oh, yeah. Fond memories.
Yeah.
How are you, Darrell? You doing okay?
With that intro, clearly, just off the walls enthusiasm. Yeah.
Wonderful. I like off the walls enthusiasm. Hey, everyone. While you are waiting for us to dive into these messages, make sure you give us a follow. Hit the subscribe here in YouTube or subscribe to the podcast that you're listening to. Make sure you share it out on all the socials at 365MCS. I will let you know that we said we're going to do a giveaway for the people who share the show the most. Well, there's a leader out there. So if you want to, but not by much. So if you want to jump in and win a prize, and I'm not faking it, people. There is a prize. I bought it.
There really is people that are sharing too. He's not faking that either.
I'm not faking that either. And I promise you there's a prize, and you got to share though. And you got to tag us at 365MCS on all the socials. We are there and we're listening for any comments that you have. We'd love to hear how you might want to give some suggestions on how to improve things or tell people how you are benefiting by listening and watching the show. We'd love to see that.
Daniel, there was one good piece of feedback recently in the comments. Someone who really appreciates the chapters that we add to the videos. Yeah.
Well, I think what we need to do is we need to create a chapter right when I just started talking about sharing or following and sharing and stuff for the prize, so people know that there is a prize. Because they need to know about it.
And if they need to watch that piece again and hear about the competition rules, maybe.
Oh, yes, sure.
Yeah,
There's rules. You need to share. And the more you share, the more likelihood you will win.
Yeah.
That's right. We probably should dive into the messages now.
Yeah, we should. And we'll put a chapter.
Yeah,
right. Editor. Good. Got that.
Editor.
We've got an editor.
Well, let's report that message, shall we?
Yes, we should.
Microsoft Purview Communication Compliance empowers end users to report inappropriate messages in Microsoft Teams. MC 555619. This is a bit of a mouthful, but what this is going to let us do is we're going to be able to, as a user, and it's going to be turned on by default, by the way, to allow users to report a message for a perceived violation, whether that's, sharing information that shouldn't have been shared, whether that's business information or whatnot. It could be inappropriate language or content. So being able to report that. And what's going to happen is when you do that, when a user says report a message within a channel, groups, meetings, or a private chat in Teams as well, then that will go into this bucket called user reported messages policy in the Purview Communication Compliance. And then someone who's designated can review that and take action. Now, I will let you know that they're doing this by trying to be, keeping privacy intact of like who reported and all. So they're going to, now I'm going to try to say this word. I will say though, when I read it, I totally screwed this word up. The word is pseudonymize. Did I get it right?
Pseudonymized.
So the feature will pseudonymize the employee username by default, so that when the person that's reviewing it, it's not like, oh, Darrell's the one that reported this, I'm going to ignore that because Darrell. So just let you know. So like I said, this is going to be on by default. There's links in this message telling you, giving you lots of information about this. And this is going to be rolling out early July and expected to be completed by, the end of December.
I know this isn't really the focus of the message, but okay. I'm concerned about my anonymity of reporting people. Mm-hmm. That I fear that the algorithm that comes up with a pseudonym is only drawing from 4 names, and that it's going to maybe just say Farrell reported us. Just a person called Farrell.
Singer? Wait, what?
Could be Pharrell, but Farrell.
I thought you're mispronouncing Pharrell.
Because he's happy.
Nah. So, God. Well, when I read this, I thought it would do. Now, you're onto something here, because the way I looked at it was that they were going to make it it's not a GUID, but it's like a bunch of letters and numbers.
Oh, R2D2 reported it?
Right. And when you're looking at reports of usage in like SharePoint, for instance, it shows that so-and-so, but it's just numbers and letters, by default. So that's what I thought it was going to do, but I don't know if it's just going to call you Pharrell or Furl.
If it's someone who is known to report lots of things, just, it's that person again, maybe they'll get the same pseudonym each time. And so you'll get someone who starts to get a reputation by another name.
Right. Oh, this is Snuffleupagus. What is he?
Yeah, Snuffy reported this again.
I'm looking at the documentation here, and the screenshot that they picked conveniently does not show the person who reported it. So that stinks. Sorry, people. I don't know the answer to that, if you're going to be Pharrell or not, but just make sure you're happy. Okay?
Yeah. You can trust me. I'm Pharrell about it.
Yes. So the thing I think is another thing I just mentioned it's a long rollout period.
Oh,
so
is it? Yeah.
I don't necessarily like that, because how am I supposed to plan for that? So I think you're going to have to pay attention to the status for your org column in the 365 Message Center, and just kind of keep track of this one. So speaking of keeping track, I need some help with Stageview. What is this?
Stageview. And
what is going on, Darrell? Tell me all about Stageview, please.
Well, Stageview is a thing. Is a thing that you see within Microsoft Teams. I commonly call Stageview where you might present stuff within a meeting. But this collaborative Stageview in Microsoft Teams, MC 556150, is where you might be opening up some contents in a chat, a conversation, and if we just scoot on down to one of our screenshots here, we're opening up that content. They've given us an example here of I guess an adaptive card thing, a sales report for Contoso. And we open that up and we've got the content in kind of the 2/3 of the screen, the body of the message. That's the stage view. And then the conversation is your sidebar on the right. And we have had this experience in the past where we've been able to open up a attached document to a conversation, and it will open the document on the side, and you'll have your conversation on the sidebar. That's the stage view. The stage view is having conversation alongside content. They're giving us this example of a sales report in Contoso, but what they're announcing is collaborative stage view as a concept. A new type of Teams window, which, as it says here, allows users to engage in content and conversation side by side. So it's going to be available for other apps. And, I'm hoping that we see it in all kinds of apps where collaboration is the focus, but we still want to have our conversation along the side. Daniel, imagine, we see when we open up Teams that you've got default, you see the conversation, similarly with a group chat. But sometimes we do want to draw our attention to the content that we're collaborating on, and then occasionally have a chat about that content. But yeah, you had questions about this. What do you think people would ask?
Well, what apps?
Yeah.
Because it says that it's going to, for apps that have built their experience for collab stage, it's not even calling it stage view, stage, it allows users to do this. Okay, what apps? Because I can see this, that experience where you can open up a file and have collaboration, absolutely, but I don't want to lose, I want to bring that out, right? I want to have that true bust out collab experience like it's showing there, and it's in its own window, being able to really be able to collaborate and work on this document separately than what's going on in Teams.
Apologies, right? Everyone, for that tiny little screenshot that I had to blow up. All the crazy little artifacts of it being a small thing, but it is as you said, Daniel, in its separate window. It was opened from an adaptive card, so this is the the collaborative stage where your app might be designed to make best use of that. And this is, for this one, it's panels to be able to go into those reports,
which is nice, but what I'm talking about is for any app, for documents, I really want to see this, especially for Office documents, right? Where you click on a document that's been shared, it's a Word document, you're opening it up, great. And then that window pops up because someone just sent you an important private message because, hey, did you see this thing? And then you click and go over there, and now you're like, oh, where was that document? Because it closes it. Because you go over to chat, you look at it and go, oh, man, I lost. Now I got to go find where that document was. And then reopen it. I would prefer not to do that. So I hope Office documents are apps that have built their experience for collab stage, whatever that means.
Well, maybe that is it. Maybe that's going to be a new option we see when we click on that Excel document, that it will offer it to open in a separate window with chat along the side, and we can get on with it.
I will say, Darrell, I did click the thumbs down on this one.
Why is that?
Because it has no information about what other apps. It has no information like a blog post or a link to learn or anything. So I clicked the thumbs down.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Just to give that feedback.
We want to know more.
We do. Some
of these messages, they could be hinting to what might be talked about at builds. We sort of expect that sometimes, but maybe this will get updated based on your feedback. So this is going to be Available in standard release, rolling out in early June 2023, expected to be complete late June. They've just talked about a standard release. No other phases, just
No other.
there you go. Here it comes. Oh, yeah, so you can open the content with from eligible adaptive cards, engage with the app and the content in that large Teams canvas, continue the conversation from which they came within the
From
collaborative
which
stage.
they came.
From which they came. I want to see from whence they came. From whence it came.
Okay.
Yeah, anyway. Daniel, I think we've done enough on that. It is about time that we took a look at our... Do you have an Apple Watch?
Indeed I do. Yes. And let's make a to-do item so we can see it on there. I don't know. I'd stretch that one too far. Microsoft To-Do. Apple Watch app for To-Do iOS. Let's talk about that title. But let me tell you the number first. MC556155. There's too many to-dos, and the Apple Watch doesn't use iOS, right?
No,
isn't it a different?
Apple Watch OS.
Watch OS. Anyway, okay. So what this is talking about, it's real quick, is really saying we're going to be able to have more interactiveness by using our watch. We're going to be able to add tasks in To Do with our watch. You can customize the views of the apps that of the to-dos that you're seeing, and be able to complete those. And I honestly think this is great. More functionality we can bring to the devices that we have to be able to say, hey, I'm doing something. I'm not at my computer, but it was a thing I had, a task. Boop, to do, I did it, right? And mark it off and move on to the next thing. So I think this is a good thing, bringing this functionality. I'm actually excited to start using it. What I'm not excited, Darrell, about?
Yeah.
No. Well, one thing. Let me say, I am excited there is a screenshot here. Thank you for the Figma or whatever this is. Thank you, whoever put this together. I really appreciate it, and I'm not joking. I really do appreciate it. However, this message has no link to anything other than the roadmap ID. So we don't know any information about, if there's anything we need to do, how this is going to work, or anything like that. So that's unfortunate. But I think this is just a quick message here that this is coming. Do you see yourself using this, Darrell, at all?
There's only a few things that I interact with on my watch. Usually it's at a glance, and I'm starting and stopping things or reading stuff. If this has you could probably use the what is it, voice to text option on here to create myself a task. Yeah, I mean, look, these tasks, some 2-line tasks and a single line task.
Okay.
I think the kind of tasks that I would put on my list probably will be, what do they call them? Abridged, when you cut them off and a pen. Anyway, it won't fit. That's the plain language, especially if I've clicked follow up on an email and that task appears there and the subject line is going to be.
Yeah, stinks.
Yeah, but I think it is helpful for us to be able to glance and go, that's right, that's that task I was supposed to do, and set myself a reminder.
Yeah. So this will be rolling out early June and be rolled out by late June. Standard release again. No special releases for you. None whatsoever. But however you use it, it'll be your personal preference. You can maybe make that a tab onto yourself, into your. I don't know.
That's
my transitioning is terrible today. I don't know what's going on.
It's okay. It's okay. Okay, we all have our off days. Every day is an off day for me when it comes to coming with witty, clever transitions. I'm very abrupt, and I'll just say, "Hey, on to the next thing." Yeah, Teams personal tabs in Outlook for iOS MC557822. And when I introduced this at the top of the show, I was like, huh? What does that
Right.
mean? Teams personal tabs. Did you know, Daniel, that the app rail on the left-hand side of Teams is actually called the personal app bar?
I did know that,
You did?
but it's interesting that it's called the personal app bar.
Yes.
Is there another app bar? Like, is there a non-personal app bar?
Well, actually, what you were saying as we were discussing the show is that sometimes this personal app bar doesn't feel very personal if someone's controlling it.
That's right. If your organization goes, here's 8 apps, 10 apps, we're going to pin them for you in this order. Well, now it's not personal anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
But I mean, that's what it's referring to, right? It's
yes.
Teams personal tabs. Not, I mean, I guess those are tabs, but I just still call them apps. We know that the ability to have Teams apps in Outlook is coming. And there's going to be some work on that around using the same code base or something. I remember finding a Learn article somewhere that the apps, if they are written in the same way in Teams as they will appear in Outlook on the Outlook app bar. Is it called the Outlook app personal bar? I don't know.
I don't know.
All these personal bars. I think everyone should just ease off
Go to
on
the community
bars.
bar. Why would you have a personal bar? Drink by yourself.
But it's going to be extended to running these apps in Outlook for iOS, which I think is quite clever. Like, I think we're seeing a trend in terms of trying to unify code bases so apps in various places will look and feel and run the same as much as possible. I mean,
Absolutely.
yeah. So that is that's about all we got here. Standard release, rolling out early June, expected to be complete in early July. Where will we find those? Did we actually have a look at some of these documentations, a full documentation of these changes across M365? What did this one come up with?
It goes to technical
Oh,
documentation.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, so it's...
Yeah, and there's no screenshots in this one, by the way.
No.
So that stinks.
Well, hang on.
Well, I'm talking about in the message, first of all.
Yes, you're right.
Second of all, that screenshot, I look at it and still I'm confused. So it doesn't really help.
It looks like someone's developed a to-do list app, which isn't to-do. Yeah, just reflect on that
Right.
for a bit.
Right.
It's running on Teams. It's also running in this second window here is the Outlook app, and it can also run from the Office.com page, which is not Office.com. It's now Microsoft365.com. And I think this is an example of it running here on an Android phone.
Indeed.
Yeah, so it is a technical article, but it's hinting of things to come. Interesting. But yeah, that's coming to a iPhone near you, iOS.
Unless you don't have an iPhone near you, and then it won't come to
And unless you're not signed into it, so it wouldn't come to you because it's not yours.
Aha! It's personal.
Oh, so we're linking it back to the personal tabs thing again.
Indeed.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Well, I got nothing more to say about that.
Okay.
I wanna pass the reins over to you, Daniel, and hear about I think it really is our headline. So chapter mark here for anyone who likes to jump ahead. It's right here. It's right here, people. The news. Tell
Here
them.
it is, people. Create a distinct experience in Viva Connections for different audiences in the Microsoft 365 Admin Center. Now, this is what is commonly referred to as multiple home sites. Okay, so just know that that's what this is talking about. MC557823. And we've talked about this on the show. I've talked about this in my workshops. I've talked about this in sessions. This is coming. It's been a while in the making. Here it is, people. here's the announcement that it will be rolling out soon, and we'll talk about that in a second. But what you're going to be able to do is there'll be settings so that you can say, here are the settings for Viva Connections depending upon an audience. Meaning, you could do this for like a subsidiary that's sharing your tenant. Maybe you've merged companies and you want to have different experiences in Viva Connections for their home site, the different destination for their landing when they go into Viva Connections. How does that function? Does it go to a SharePoint site? Does it go to Viva Home? So you're going to be able to configure this per audience. So you can say, everybody in the US, we're going to send them over here. And then everybody in Europe, we're going to send them over there. Or different companies or whatever. So you're going to do the configuration in the admin center. So the Viva Connections administration is in the M365 admin center, and then SharePoint admin center will handle or it used to handle the home site, but the home site setting is going to actually move to Viva Connections administration. So that's an important thing to note for SharePoint admins. The home site is a setting in SharePoint admin, but it's moving. Okay. You don't need to do anything to prepare for this, but I would suggest you start thinking about, do we need multiple home sites? Meaning when someone goes to Viva Connections, do they see a different experience based upon who they are, what their role is, where they are? Now, this, of course, will affect things like global navigation, right? Because that's the home site drives global navigation.
Yeah.
This will affect their home site, of course, as well as the experience and I'm assuming the Viva dashboard. We don't have a details in this message, but that's it'll control that as well. Now, there is some information that is just now announced that is attached to this message that gives information that has not been publicly available until now. Now, I don't know if privileged this is the right word, but I was part of the conversation around this information. But basically, you have to have, this is not it, okay, by the way, but you have to have an enterprise, like an E license or an F license to be able to do this, to create multiple home sites, okay? Multiple Viva Connection experiences is what they're saying. However, if you only have an E license, then you'll only get 3 different Viva Connection experiences via these audiences. If you want more, you can have more. In fact, right now, up to 10. However, you will have to purchase the Microsoft Viva Suite subscription. And if you do that, then you will get the 10 experiences up to 10. So if you want 4, then you're going to need to buy the Viva Suite subscription. Now, who needs the Viva Suite subscription to be able to get this? I don't know the answer to that. I'm
everybody,
assuming,
Daniel, surely.
I'm assuming it is, actually, that it would be everyone that's in an audience. But so it is coming out of private preview, and I'm excited for it. I'm going to, hopefully start talking about this and how organizations can start using this to better their communication and their employee experience. What do you think about this, Darrell? Are you thinking how can your clients use this?
There will be some that will make use of this, and it is about targeting it to different regions for our clients. But I do caution organizations who are looking for a reason to use this and don't really have one. Because one of the benefits of having an intranet and having it together is that you're making the job easier on yourself, but also you're bringing people together on the same news, the same content, the same, experience. So, yeah, unless you've got a good reason to deliver an entirely separate Viva Home experience, then I reckon don't do it. Don't do it, man.
The situations that I hear people talking about this for their organization and our clients is when it comes to larger organizations, international organizations, organizations that have, and I have several clients where they have an entity in the US, an entity in Canada, and they want different experiences because they are different companies, but they're part of the bigger company. And they want a different experience. Now, they want to have some shared experience, but they want a different experience too, to highlight things. So I get it. I think it is a need for a lot of organizations, but I would echo what Darrell just said. Don't go looking for a problem that this fixes. If you have a situation in your organization that needs it, fine, but don't go searching for a problem. I think having a common home experience is good for your employee experience, right? For your people to stay connected and in similar ways rather than staying connected different, right? We want to customize some of the user experience and target it with some content, right? We do that through feeds. We do that through audience targeting for web parts and our ACEs, but let's not go looking for a problem to solve with this.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
We don't know how it works in terms of content. I mean, it is a home site, but like how we have hubs and then hubs within hubs, and that we can filter content up based on that connection. I imagine that a home site could still surface a common, let's say, global enterprise news site.
Oh, absolutely.
That could appear on all three home sites, and everyone could get that same common global level news.
Yeah, absolutely. You're going to be able to, do roll-ups using search, using the index to be able to bring in content. So it is just audience targeting this. It's not a security boundary, right?
Yeah.
So this will be rolling out targeted release by mid-June. So we have less than a month away. Standard release rolling out in late June. Okay. So I'm excited to see this, excited that it's finally getting here and getting in the hands of more people. It's been in private preview for a while, working out some kinks, but it's ready for prime time. So I'm ready.
Mm-hmm. Daniel, that is it for the show this week. It's been an interesting collection of messages.
Indeed.
But yeah, I'd like to remind people that if you feel like we've delivered value and you liked at least one of those messages in there, then give us a whole like, even if it was only for that one message. You can't give a fifth of a like out, all right? And if you want to get a full like together, like across 5 different episodes, then you could subscribe and then... No, I'm really trying to do some
you went a little too far.
there.
Share, people, share because you want to win the contest. And it's a pretty neat prize. I'm just going to say it. I'm not joking. There is a prize. And so get out there, share like crazy this episode. We are at 365 MCS on all the socials that matter. And make sure that you subscribe to the podcast, again, on all the podcast platforms that matter. We're not on the ones that don't matter, but we are on the ones that do matter.
Wow.
Yep. Indeed.
Oh well. That's it for the week. Don't forget to write. Don't forget to comment.
That's right.
Reach out.
Give us a comment below. We'd love to hear from you. Thank you so much for listening and watching.
Bye-bye.